Azeez, how important is it for you to be that leader on the field, to be able to calm everything down on the defensive side of the ball when it's getting so chaotic, to make sure that everybody's in the right spot, everybody's in the right place, doing what they're supposed to do? And just for the record, Coach Burke said, you think Azeez is calm?
No, I think the biggest thing for me is like it's like a level of urgency that you got to have, and intensity, but you got to think about it. From D'Amico, you know, I use this analogy, I say it all the time to the guys, but like it's like a parent teaching a kid how to drive for the first time. Yeah. They're in the car with you. They're not outside the car. So I mean, it's his car. He owns it. He's the face of this team. He's the head coach. But he can't go make the plays for us. So all of us are in the driver's seat, and he's coaching us, telling us which way to turn and where to put the brake. But we got to do it. So, you know, you can imagine the anxiety and the nerves and everything that comes with that. And I think for me, I'm kind of like the middleman, because I hear sometimes his purest reactions or thoughts. Like sometimes his first reaction wouldn't be what he might say to everybody, but he's saying it to me in the headset or whatever. And so when I get on the field and I relate on the field, I'm not saying it how he might be saying it sometimes, because sometimes he's saying it with some attitude.
With some force.
Exactly. So I'm saying I'm kind of just like the translator essentially for him to the rest of the guys. And I mean, I think that just is a huge thing, because the energy that takes place and that happens, the highs and the lows and the emotions throughout a game for every individual person, myself included, there's so much, you know, and so it is a lot. It is a lot, but it is very, very important to have that balance, you know, of the right urgency, but also the right amount of calmness and, you know, kind of poise.
How much was last week more about just Azeez than it was coming back off of the suspension, going back to Tennessee, playing for the first time? How much was it just about you, your thoughts, being on the field with your teammates?
Yeah, I think a lot of it for me was about that. Like, a lot of it was about just getting back out there, because obviously understanding that as far as like ranking or playoff position, none of that changes. You know, stats don't matter. Nothing matters at this point. Other than, you know, for me, getting back out there with the guys and being able to, you know, just feel like myself again, playing football and communicating and hearing D'Amico on the headset. Like, you know, at one point it's like, because the plan wasn't for me to play that much, and I'm over there like kind of like talking my way into a couple more plays. Like, hold on, give me one more.
Coach Burke said that too.
And he's like, like, you know, Billy and D'Amico both look like, man, you look great. They try to hype me up and get me to stop. And I'm like, I need one more. I need one more drive. So, I mean, a lot of it was just to get ready, because I understand, you know, what's coming. I understand what time of the year it is, and if anybody, like, I can't demand everybody be at their best, and I'm not at mine. So I think it definitely was a big portion of it was just me making sure I felt comfortable going into this week.
Azeez, you've always been the underdog, coming from high school to college to the pros. And now there's a lot of the naysayers, especially in the national media, that have made the Houston Texans the underdog and, you know, not really giving you all an opportunity to win this game against the Chargers on Saturday. How do you all block out the naysayers, and how do you personally, you know, make sure that this team is ready to play on Saturday?
Man, I think as far as blocking it out, like, the reality is the noise is there. Like, you can either completely ignore it and act like it doesn't exist, or you can acknowledge, you know, the smell in the room. Hey, something smells funny. At the end of the day, we know what we do. Like, at the end of the day, the work and the foundation that we built all the way from April when I first got here, and what they've already started building a year prior when D'Amico first got here, is what we lean on and what we fall back on. So I know we're going to be prepared and ready to go. But also, I mean, look at some of the games that we won and some of the games that we lost. You know, we might have been favored in some game. Like, we played Tennessee early in the year and they beat us, and I'm sure we were favored in that game. You know, and then you played the Bills early in the year, and I'm sure we weren't favored in that game. Like, you can say it however you want, but at the end of the day, this is the National Football League. Like, I think I understand it more than anybody just because of how I made it in this league. But so many people who, you know, are in the media, and this is kind of disappointing because when you talk about somebody like Rex Ryan, man, a ton of respect. I mean, he's coached in this league for a long time. He knows what this business is like. And sometimes you get caught up, I guess, in just being on the news, you know, being on ESPN. I guess maybe just kind of lost sight of it or forgot.
Yeah.
But, bro, you know how this business is. It's
Yeah.
a week-to-week league.
Yep.
And I couldn't imagine any team that he's ever coached where they went into the week saying, man, we're going to whoop up on these guys. It's a bye week. Like, come on. It sounds good for TV, but the reality is he knows that's not how this business works. And that's just what it is. We know we'll be ready.
Last question I have for you. At the end of last season, the coaches gave every player something specific to work on, and that they wanted them to work on and come back into, OTAs and the training camp into the season, having worked on that. And it looks as if Henry To'oTo'o took that to heart, led the team in tackles. You came in here, you've also been able to help take him to another level. Just how much have you, and I know I've asked you this question before, but just to be able to watch him play and see where he's gone and the influence that you've had on that.
I mean, yeah, it's special, and it's been awesome to see, with him, C-Has, really our whole group, I constantly try to pour into them just as much, if not more, because people poured into me when I was a young player. And I think the confidence and the swagger and just that positive reinforcement, but also, I'm the same person that I tell them, hey, that wasn't good enough. Because I think when you have that, and you have kind of this standard that somebody helps create for you, because when you're young, you don't really know what the standard might be or what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And so me coming in was more so just hey, I'm somebody who, came in undrafted. D'Amico was on my behind the entire time, and just seeing how far I've been able to go with my God-given abilities, but also just learning and growing within the scheme, within the conversations and stuff that we've had, and all the other players that helped me. So I think when they see living proof of oh wow, this is what it's supposed to look like. Dang, I see this dude work every day. I see how he handles himself. So I think just that model, that example, which is what I am for a lot of the guys, I think is heavy for me, but also something that I've kind of done my entire life. And when you talk about Henry and what he's been able to do, I told him, bro, it don't matter what happens. Bro, when you look back at this season, man, the jump that you made, bro, you should be proud of that, especially in your second year. Leading the team in tackles, I mess with them about all the time. I'm bro, that's a big deal. They paying me a lot of money. They ain't paying me a lot of money to not be leading the team in tackles at bare minimum. So just poke around, make fun with him about it. But the reality is bro, pat yourself on the back sometimes too. We working hard, but don't ever lose sight of the gratitude within the work, because every single week it's a new week. Last week we talking about Tennessee, this week we talking about the Chargers, and next week we talking about somebody else. But the reality is that it's still a blessing when you're able to do something like he's able to do, and go through a season healthy, miss a couple of games here and there, but still accomplish the things he's done in year two. I think is really big.
Thanks, Azeez.